Buenas and happy day, everyone. This is Gabriela and I'm currently studying at the University of Guam this semester. I'm currently in the parking lot of the Dededo Sports Complex, which is in the village of Dededo, and it's really close to both the UOG campus and where I'm living in Barrigada Heights. I'm just waiting for traffic to go down because it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and this is a place that I go normally when I want to go running. And right now, back where my home campus is, it's starting to get really cold. My home campus is the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, and it's about 43. It's getting into the low 40 degrees now. And so when I'm back in my home campus, I don't normally have a lot of opportunities to go running during the winter time. So I've been definitely taking advantage of that while I'm here, as it's always usually like 83, 84 degrees, and it's usually very sunny. So this is where I like to go when I can get up early and I don't have classes in the morning. I could get a nice run in. With an exception to a field trip on Wednesday, this week was pretty calm, pretty mellow for the most part. And it was really nice to enjoy this week, and things were really easygoing. And I knew that these next couple weeks I'm going to have a lot of preparation to do for some of my in-class presentations, because we're starting to get, not quite to finals yet, but we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. And so in like a week, November is going to be here, and so, you know, November is kind of like the final stretch where you're cranking out as much work as you can before you just, you know, you kick back and you have final presentations and final papers. So in between my classes and, you know, in between running errands and going to the beach and doing fun things outside of class and driving from village to village running errands, the Filipino side of my family on my dad's side, they get together every second and fourth Sunday of each month. And so this past Sunday we went to my Lola, my Filipino grandmother's house, and we all brought food and we had a potluck this week. There's a pretty big Filipino community here on Guam, and so my dad's side of the family, the Diazes, are a part of that community, and it's really cool to see that, you know, especially on Chamorro homelands, on traditionally Chamorro homelands here on Guam. There are a lot of Filipinos living here, and they still have a sense of pride in their identity, and, you know, they continue their culture here. And so the Diazes, every second and fourth Sunday of each month, we like to get together at my Lola's house. And my Lola is my Filipino grandmother on my dad's side. She's my dad's mother, and she's actually 97 at the moment. We all got together at her house, and we had a little bit of a potluck, and we all brought food, and we just ate, and we spent time, and we told stories. And I visited with family that I don't often get to see, since I come to visit Guam every other year or so, if not every 2 or 3 years. So I'm not here too often because I don't live too close to Guam. And flying out so often can get really expensive. So that was a visit that I really appreciated a lot. And it was a really great way to end off the week on Sunday. And, you know, it was, like I said earlier, it's been a pretty mellow week so far. And it's been nice just being able to relax and not have to crank out work so much and scramble with deadlines, because the last couple of weeks were like really crazy. So one of the outings that I took this past week was to Pagu Bay, and that was for my soil science class. And we ended up actually sampling some soil from that region because we're studying physical and chemical properties of soil. And so it was really exciting because I know when I think back on putting together my schedule and, you know, picking classes when I pursued the study abroad opportunity, and I was looking at the UOG's, their course catalog, I remember I really wanted to seek out classes that, you know, again, not only could I not take back in the United States where my home campus is, but also science classes that will have an emphasis on like the regional geologic history or formation of Guam and the Marianas Islands. So I was really excited like enrolling in this soil science class because I knew we'd do a lot more field work involving the geologic history of like this region in the Western Pacific. And so that's exactly what we've been doing all semester with our field trips out, taking soil samples. Sometimes it gets really hard to make time, to go on an outing around, if you want to see the place where you're living and like really get a lot out of the experience. And like studying abroad, it gets hard to go out and do things in the community or actually go out there in a safe manner, wherever you're studying abroad. And so taking classes that force you to like actually go out and venture out, and that'll require you to, like not just remain in the classroom, but actually leave the physical space and see the place for yourself. I'm really coming to enjoy those, and I'm appreciating them a lot more. My soil science class requires us to go on field trips at least twice a month. And so for last week, again, we went to Pago Bay, and we went through the jungle, and we went through the beach area, and we collected soil, and we're gonna go analyze that in the lab this week. And my Chamorro class, it has us, like some of our main projects for that class is to go around the island and look for different symbols that represent Guam's history. So like last month we had to go around the island, and you have to pick like a location or a symbol that represents traditional ancient Chamorro culture and history. And so for this week, the one that's due this week is that we have to go find like a symbol of Hispanicization and Spanish colonial occupation on Guam, because we have that in our history. And so classes like that force you to go out and leave the classroom, and kind of step out there, if you're used to just learning in the classroom, like in a safe, enclosed environment. I'm really liking those so far at the UOG. So when I went to Pago Bay, I remember at the beginning of the semester I had to go out and buy, clothes I had to buy some cheap clothes for hiking, and I had to buy some hiking boots. And as you can see, like I'm going out and I'm venturing out a lot more. And I'm embracing it, because this is a time that I can go out and I actually see the island for myself, while fostering this deep appreciation for it, with all this knowledge that I'm getting at the UOG. And I come back in mosquito bites, covered with mosquito bites, and I get a lot more sun. And I've actually changed my diet a little bit, because whereas back in the United States and back at my home campus in Minnesota, I'm not out as much during this time of the year. And so during the winter, you often stay inside and you keep warm. And I'm normally really good about my eating. Sometimes I get really particular about my diet, but being a lot more independent here and learning how to manage my money, and especially like the cost of living here, the cost of groceries here is enough to make you really reshape and rethink some of your dietary habits or your diet altogether. I'm definitely experiencing that here. So not only did I have to go buy things for my soil science class, but my Mondays and Wednesdays are really busy. And I start at 11 in the morning, and I don't finish till 7:20 p.m. And that's just the way it had to be. Something had to give a little bit for me to take all the classes that I wanted to take here this semester. And, when I think about going on field trips every Wednesday for my soil science class, I think a lot about, driving, and, that takes time, and I'm a lot more independent driving myself places. And it takes a lot of energy out, driving to class, attending a lecture, and then driving out somewhere to take soil samples, and you're standing in the hot sun, and it's 84, 85 degrees, and you're in the jungle sweating and dealing with the bugs, and you're doing physical, manual labor collecting soil and digging for soil. It's a lot of labor involved. And so I've gotten a lot of sun, and I've been expending a lot of energy, basically. And that's really reshaped how, I purchase my groceries, and I eat food that I normally wouldn't in the United States, because just the diet is different here. And for example, like white rice is a big staple in a lot of households here. And when you want something that's going to sustain you all day, and something that's accessible and quick, and you can pack it, and like I said, like it'll last you. And I'm taking these classes, and sometimes I have full days until 7:20 p.m. I've been eating a lot more rice than I normally would. And so when I'm taking these classes and I'm out and I'm working in the sun, and I'm sweating, and I'm doing a lot of labor, and it's really intensive labor, and I'm out, and it's 85, and it's almost always sunny. you know, it's definitely changed my attitude towards like eating and towards my diet and towards the groceries that I get when I go grocery shopping. I guess this could be considered a little bit of like personal growth maybe, and just a little bit about some of my outings. But you know, some of the work that I'm doing and some of the work that's required for my classes have definitely had implications outside of school. So at this point in the semester, things are a little more relaxed, a little less stressful, a little less hectic. Definitely a lot easier and less stressful than the past couple weeks. And I know that I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can, because I know not only am I going to be leaving soon, but I'm going to have to start preparing for my final exams and big presentations and other obligations that I'm going to have to attend to towards the end of the semester. I guess on that note, I'd like to really end off this week's video by saying Suzuos Masi all for watching. And please be sure to like and subscribe to the National Student Exchange Program for more content, and I'll see you guys next week.